What if I told you that these are the worst substance addictions in reggae history? From Dennis Brown, who was often seen backstage at concerts with substance, to Gregory Isaacs, who himself admitted how addiction had ruined his friendships, harmed his family, and nearly destroyed his music career. Here are the 15 worst addictions in reggae history. Johnny Ringo. Johnny Ringo was a reggae and dancehall artist whose music lit up Jamaica from the late 1970s to the early 1990s. His journey began in a Kingston record shop where he met fellow artist Welton Erie. The two became close and worked together for many years. Before making records, Ringo worked as an operator for popular sound systems like Soul Express and Ripatone. Then, in the late 1970s, he got his big break and released his first single, Trouble Never Set Like Rain. His music quickly became popular across Jamaica, especially for his playful and sometimes controversial lyrics. Songs like Two Lesbians and Push Lady Push gained attention, but it was his 1982 hit Dub and Left that brought him international recognition. He followed that success with other Jamaican favorites, including Pain a Back, Nah, Fight Over Woman, and Married for the Opportunity. That same year, he contributed the opening track to superstar Yellowman Has Arrived with Toyan, further cementing his place in dancehall music. Even as he recorded hit songs, Ringo stayed active in the sound system scene, performing with Lee's Unlimited and Ray Symbolic Hi-Fi. With this crew, alongside Squidly Ranking and Welton Erie, he toured internationally, bringing Jamaican dancehall music to audiences worldwide. In the early 1980s, he took part in some of the first live dancehall album recordings. By the early 1990s, he had mostly stepped away from recording. Sadly, Johnny Ringo struggled with addiction in his later years. After battling crack use for some time, he passed away in July 2005. Bob Marley. Bob Marley was a Jamaican singer, songwriter, and guitarist, widely known as one of the pioneers of reggae music. He blended reggae, ska, and rocksteady, creating a unique sound that made him a global icon. But there was another part of Bob Marley's life that was just as well known: his love for cannabis. For Marley, smoking was as natural as eating when he was hungry, or drinking when he was thirsty. By the 1970s, weed had become a constant part of his daily life. Some say he lit up as many as 18 joints a day. Whether it was morning, afternoon, or night, Marley always had a joint in hand. His devotion to cannabis wasn't just about pleasure, it was spiritual. In 1966, he converted from Catholicism to Rastafarianism, a faith that considers weed or ganja. Rastafarians believe that smoking helps them meditate, connect with God, and gain wisdom. Marley fully embraced this belief and became an outspoken supporter of cannabis legalization. Even when he was arrested in 1968 for possession of weed, he never wavered in his beliefs. He continued to use it, seeing it as a tool for self-discovery and spiritual growth. Bob Marley once said about smoking, "When you smoke herb reveal yourself to you. All the wickedness you do, the herb reveal itself to yourself, your conscience. Show up yourself clear, because herb makes you meditate. Is only a natural thing, and it grows like a tree." Despite his heavy use, Marley was known for his strong moral character. He used his music to spread messages of peace, love, and justice, inspiring millions around the world. Dennis Brown. Dennis Brown was a Jamaican reggae singer who became one of the biggest stars in the genre, especially in lovers rock, a smooth and romantic style of reggae. His career started early and was just 11 years old when he began recording music in the late 1960s. His first song, Lips of Wine, was recorded for producer Derek Harriott but was never released. Soon after, he got the chance to work with legendary producer Clement Dodd at the famous Studio One label. That's where he recorded No Man is an Island at just 12 years old. The song slowly gained popularity, and by the end of 1969, it was a massive hit across Jamaica. By 1972, Brown was making a name for himself beyond Jamaica. That year, he was invited to record an album for producer Joe Gibbs. One of the songs from that project, Money in My Pocket, became especially popular with reggae fans in the UK and quickly became a favorite at his live performances. Brown continued his success with hits like Cassandra, No More Will I Roam, and Africa, which reflected his strong Rastafarian beliefs. But behind all his success, Dennis Brown had personal struggles. He battled with substance addiction, particularly crack. Brown always denied that these substances were a major problem in his life, though he admitted that the rumors affected his career. Those close to him, like DJ Ranking Joe, knew about his struggles. By the late 1990s, Brown's health was getting worse. Years of substance use had likely taken a toll on his body, and in May 1999, while on tour in Brazil, he fell seriously ill. He was diagnosed with pneumonia and returned to Jamaica to recover. But on June 30th, 1999, his condition worsened, and he was rushed to Kingston's University Hospital after suffering cardiac arrest. The next day, Dennis Brown passed away. Gregory Isaacs. Gregory Isaacs was one of Jamaica's most talented reggae singers. His smooth, emotional voice earned him the nickname the Cool Ruler. Isaacs started his music career in 1968, recording under the name Winston Sinclair. He teamed up with fellow artist Errol Dunkley to start the African Museum record label and record shop. It was a risky move, but it paid off when he released My Only Lover, a song often credited as the first ever lovers rock reggae track. Over the next few years, he recorded hit after hit, from romantic ballads to deep roots reggae songs. Some of his most famous early tracks included All I Have Is Love, Lonely Soldier, Black a Kill Black, Extra Classic, and Loving Pauper. By the late 1970s, he was one of the biggest reggae stars in the world, alongside Dennis Brown and Bob Marley. In the early 1980s, Isaac signed with Island Records, a major label that helped take reggae music to international audiences. His breakthrough moment came with the release of Night Nurse in 1982. The song wasn't a major hit on the charts in the US or UK, but it became a club favorite and was played heavily on the radio. The album itself reached number 32 in the UK, and the song became so famous that a cold and flu medicine even used it in their commercials. But just as his career was at its peak, Isaac's personal life was falling apart. He had developed a serious substance addiction. In 1982, he was arrested for possession of unlicensed firearms and sentenced to 6 months in prison in Kingston. He claimed the guns were for protection, but it was later revealed that this was his 27th arrest. His substance use also led him into dangerous situations, including making deals with the substance. Over time, crack started to take a toll on his body and voice. By 2007, he had lost most of his teeth. His wife, June Isaacs, later spoke about his struggles, saying that the substance made him paranoid, unstable, and deeply insecure. In a 1988 interview, Isaacs himself admitted how addiction had ruined his friendships, harmed his family, and nearly destroyed his music career. Sadly, his health continued to decline, and in 2010, Isaacs passed away after a battle with lung cancer. Tyrone Taylor. Tyrone Taylor was a reggae singer, blessed with a smooth and soulful voice. Taylor started his career by working with some of Jamaica's most famous producers, including Winston Niney the Observer. Together, they created 2 big hits in Jamaica, Just a Feeling and Sufferation. However, it was in 1983 that Tyrone Taylor finally found international success with a song that would define his career, Cottage and Negril. Cottage and Negril stood out and became a massive hit. It was so popular that Taylor was named Best-Selling Singer of 1983. A major record label, MCA, saw his potential and signed him. They released an album called Pledge to the Sun, hoping to repeat the success of Cottage and Negril, but the album didn't sell well. MCA lost interest and Taylor was sent on a European tour without proper support from the label. Feeling abandoned by the industry, he walked away from the contract, and his career began to slow down. During this time, Taylor started struggling with addiction, which made things even worse. By the late 1980s, he was recording only occasionally, though he had a minor comeback in 1987 with songs like Members Only and Be For Real. In 1994, he worked with producer Clive Hunt to release another hit single, Rainy Sunset. Despite these small successes, Taylor's personal struggles deepened. Years of addiction and alcoholism took their toll. He eventually became homeless, spending most of the last 18 years of his life on the streets of Skid Row in Los Angeles, a place known for its large homeless population. In 2007, he suffered 2 strokes, which left him in a wheelchair. Tyrone Taylor passed away from complications due to prostate cancer in 2007. Majek Fashek. Majek Fashek was the Nigerian reggae singer, songwriter, and guitarist known for his powerful music and deep spiritual lyrics. His musical journey began in the early 1980s when he performed under the stage name Rajesh Khanal. He joined a reggae band called Jah Sticks, along with musicians Amos McRoy Gregg and Black Rice. The group became popular as the in-house band for Music Panorama, a show on NTA Benin. In 1987, after Jah Sticks disbanded, he rebranded himself as Majek Fashek and started a solo career. He signed with Tabanzi Records and released his debut album, Prisoner of Conscience, in 1988. The album featured Send Down the Rain, which became the biggest song of the year in Nigeria. It was so popular that people believed Fashek had supernatural powers, as the song was released during a time of drought and, shortly after, heavy rains fell. That year, he won 6 awards, including Song of the Year, Album of the Year, and Reggae Artist of the Year. Majek Fashek's international recognition grew, and in 1992, he performed on Late Night with David Letterman, one of America's biggest talk shows at the time. Despite his success, Majek Fashek faced personal struggles, particularly with substance addiction and alcoholism. By 2015, his condition had worsened. He had lost his wealth and fame and was seen wandering the streets of Lagos, looking frail and unkempt. His decline shocked many, as he had once performed on some of the world's biggest stages. His former backup singer, Monica Omarodion Swida, started a GoFundMe campaign to help him get off the streets and into a rehabilitation center. In addition to his struggles with addiction, he battled other serious illnesses. On June 1, 2020, Majek Fashek passed away in his sleep in New York City at the age of 57. The cause of death was esophageal cancer. Buju Banton? Buju Banton is a Jamaican reggae and dancehall singer, widely regarded as one of the most influential artists in Jamaican music. Buju's journey began in the late 1980s when he started releasing dancehall singles. However, it was in 1992 that he truly made his mark with 2 albums, Stamina Daddy and Mr. Mention. Mr. Mention became the best-selling album in Jamaica's history at the time, and he even broke Bob Marley and the Wailers' record for the most #1 singles in Jamaica. His rise to fame caught the attention of Mercury Records, and he signed with them, releasing Voice of Jamaica in 1993. Despite his success, Buju's life took a dramatic turn in 2009 when he was arrested in the United States on trafficking charges. His first trial ended in a hung jury, but in 2011, he was found guilty of conspiracy to distribute the illegal substance. The case was built on video and audio recordings from an informant, including footage of Buju tasting the substance in a Florida warehouse. He was sentenced to 10 years in federal prison. While incarcerated, his music remained influential. His 2010 album, Before the Dawn, won the Grammy Award for Best Reggae Album at the 53rd Annual Grammy Awards, proving that his voice still resonated with fans worldwide. After serving 7 years, Buju was released in December 2018. He wasted no time reclaiming his place in music, launching the Long Walk to Freedom tour in 2019. His first concert at the National Stadium in Kingston was a massive homecoming, drawing over 30,000 fans. As he toured, he continued releasing new music, including Country for Sale, which quickly topped the iTunes Reggae chart. If you are enjoying this video, appreciate it by giving it a thumbs up. And if you have not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Hit that subscribe button. Lee Scratch Perry. Lee Perry was a Jamaican record producer, songwriter, and singer known for his innovative studio techniques and production style. Perry was a pioneer in the 1970s development of dub music, with his early adoption of remixing and studio effects to create new instrumental or vocal versions of existing reggae tracks. His musical journey began in the late 1950s, working as a record seller for Clement Dodd's sound system. But Perry wasn't content just playing other people's music. He wanted to make his own. In the 1970s, he built a small studio in his backyard, Black Ark, giving him complete control over his production. It was here that he created some of his most iconic work, producing artists like Bob Marley and the Wailers, Junior Murvin, the Congos, Max Romeo, and many more. Perry believed in the spiritual power of his work and often performed strange rituals while producing. He was known to blow weed smoke into the microphone, tap the ground with a hammer while muttering to himself, and even walk backward around Kingston. Then, in one of the most bizarre moments of his career, he burned down his own Black Ark studio. He claimed the reason was that it was filled with unclean spirits and needed to be purified by fire. After a period of decline, Perry's career saw a revival in the late 1980s when he began working with British producers Adrian Sherwood and Mad Professor. He also decided to quit drinking and smoking, realizing that his talent came from within, not from the substances he once relied on. His influence was finally recognized on a global scale when he won a Grammy Award for Best Reggae Album in 2003. A year later, Rolling Stone named him one of the 100 greatest artists of all time. George Nooks. George Nooks is a Jamaican reggae and gospel singer. His journey into music began in the church, where he sang in the youth choir before moving on to school concerts and talent shows. He became popular working with producer Joe Gibbs, particularly on Dennis Brown's 1978 hits Money in My Pocket and How Could I Leave. Though his popularity dipped in the 1980s, Nooks made a strong comeback in the 1990s. His 1996 single Real Man reached number 1, 55 on the Billboard R&B singles sales chart, and his 1997 self-titled album won 3 Tamika Reggae Music Awards. Since then, he has remained prolific. His 2016 album, Ride Out Your Storm, was a commercial success, reaching number 4 on the Billboard Reggae Albums chart and number 22 on the Gospel chart. However, around the same time, Nooks began facing legal troubles related to illegal substance possession. In May 2017, he was arrested in St. Andrew, Jamaica, after police allegedly found a small plastic bag of illegal substances in his Mercedes-Benz SUV. He was charged with possession, granted $80,000 bail, and went to trial in May 2019. Due to inconsistencies in the prosecution's case, he was found not guilty. However, in April 2019, he was arrested again during a police operation in Liguania, St. Andrew. Authorities claimed he discarded a capsule containing a white substance. Nooks was held at Kingston Public Hospital for 24 hours before being released without charge, and his attorney Tom Tavares Finson threatened to sue for false imprisonment. Despite initially being released, he was rearrested in October 2020 after a ruling by the Director of Public Prosecutions. This time, he faced charges of possession of an illegal substance and attempting to pervert the course of justice, allegedly for ingesting a substance during police processing. He pleaded not guilty, was granted $300,000 bail, and saw his trial postponed multiple times. Peter Tosh. Peter Tosh was a Jamaican reggae musician, best known for being one of the founding members of the Wailers alongside Bob Marley and Bunny Wailer. After leaving the Wailers, he built a successful solo career. One of his biggest passions was the legalization of weed, and he made sure the world knew it. His debut solo album, Legalize It, was released in 1976 and became an anthem for reggae fans and cannabis supporters alike. Tosh didn't just sing about it, he lived it. He was often seen smoking in public, even on stage. In 1978, he signed with Rolling Stones Records. His album, Bush Doctor, featured Mick Jagger and Keith Richards, and the song Don't Look Back, a duet with Jagger, became a hit. That same year, Tosh performed at the One Love Peace concert in Jamaica, where he made headlines for more than just his music. During the concert, Tosh took a bold stand. He lit up a weed spliff right on stage and gave a fiery speech, calling out politicians Michael Manley and Edward Seaga for failing to legalize cannabis. The crowd cheered, but his actions made him a target for the police. Just a few months later, in September 1978, Tosh was arrested at Halfway Tree Square in Kingston for smoking. While in custody, he was badly beaten, his hand was broken, and he suffered head injuries that required stitches. Despite the struggles, Tosh never backed down. He once said, "Ganja has everything to do with the upliftment of the mind. What am I without Herb, and what is Herb without me?" Ninja Man. Ninja Man, also known as Don Gorgon, is a Jamaican dancehall DJ famous for his hardcore lyrics, fast-paced delivery, and dramatic style. He built a reputation as one of dancehall's most controversial figures, known for his aggressive lyrics and fierce clashes with other artists. His rise to fame began in 1987 when he recorded his first big hit, Protection, a duet with Courtney Melody. From there, he worked with some of Jamaica's top producers, including King Jammy, Lloyd Dennis, Witty, Exterminator, Philip Faddis Burrell, Redman, Bobby Digital, Augustus Gussie Clarke, and Steely and Clevie. Between 1989 and 1992, Ninja Man cemented his reputation as one of dancehall's toughest DJs with hits like Border Clash, Murder Dem, Permit to Bury, and Above the Law. His music carried a raw energy that resonated with fans, but also fueled his image as a violent rude boy. But by 1993, his violent lyrics sparked backlash. People accused him of glorifying gun culture, and as a result, his career began to slow down. He found it harder to book performances and record new music. By 1997, Ninja Man changed his name to Brother Desmond and started performing gospel reggae. Around the same time, he sought help to overcome his crack addiction. He had been struggling with addiction for over a decade, and it had taken a toll on both his personal life and his career. He said, "It was a serious problem in our days. I spent 10 years smoking, and I saw what it was doing to people, so I stopped. In the end, he realized it was holding him back. From the moment he quit, he felt like he was regaining control of his career." Clive Hunt. Clive Hunt is a Jamaican reggae musician, producer, and composer known for his incredible talent and ability to play multiple instruments. His journey into music started at Stony Hill Approved School, where he learned to play the trumpet. By the time he was 17, he had already joined the 1st Battalion, the Jamaica Regiment Band. His skills as a musician quickly made him a sought-after session player. He didn't just play the trumpet, he mastered the bass guitar, flute, horn, keyboards, and saxophone. But Clive wasn't just a musician, he also became a talented arranger and producer, working with many reggae artists. In 1976, he released his first album, Sada Y, under the name Lizard. His second album, Orthodox Dub, came out on the Wackies label, further solidifying his name in the reggae world. In the late 1970s, Clive moved to New York City, where he worked with major producers like Joe Gibbs and Lloyd Barnes from Wackies. However, during this time, he developed a serious addiction. His substance use eventually led to trouble with the law, and in 1987, he was deported back to Jamaica after being charged with substance-related offenses. Realizing that he needed to turn his life around, Clive checked into rehab in 1991. Looking back on that time, he once said, "I got involved in it because people around me were doing it. I was rubbing shoulders with the biggest names in the industry, and one day, a friend introduced me to it. For 11 years, I went from the highest high to the lowest low." After overcoming his addiction, Clive re-established himself as a respected producer. Jawara McIntosh. Jawara McIntosh is the son of legendary reggae artist Peter Tosh. As he got older, Jawara, who later became known as Tosh 1, was deeply influenced by the music of his father, as well as reggae legends like Bob Marley and his uncle Bunny Wailer. Tosh 1's first major step into the music industry came when he remade his father's song, You Can't Blame the Youths. During his career, he performed on stage alongside some of reggae's biggest names, including Sizzla, Gregory Isaacs, Shabba Ranks, and Damian Marley. He also played live with Sinead O'Connor, backed by the famous duo Sly and Robbie. Later, he went on tour with heavyweight dub champion and recorded music with Daniel Brown, the son of another reggae great, Dennis Brown. But just as his career was gaining momentum, his life took a dark turn. On June 15, 2013, police in Mahwah, New Jersey, pulled him over for allegedly driving recklessly. They claimed there were open bottles of alcohol in the front seat and that he was under the influence. At the time, his license was suspended. When police searched his car, they found 3 large bags in the trunk containing 65 pounds of weed. He was arrested and charged with possession of weed, along with several driving-related offenses. Tosh 1 spent over 6 months in county jail before he pleaded guilty to the substance charges in August 2016. He was sentenced to 1 year in jail. In January 2017, with 6 months left to serve, he entered Bergen County Jail. While in jail, he got into a fight with another inmate. During the altercation, he suffered a serious brain injury. He fell into a coma and remained unconscious for a year. When he finally woke up, he was unable to fully recover. Baby Wayne. Baby Wayne was a dancehall artist known for his thoughtful and socially conscious lyrics. At a time when many dancehall songs focused on explicit themes, Baby Wayne stood out by warning listeners about the dangers of a life of crime. In the early 1990s, he collaborated with producers Steely and Clevey, achieving a hit in 1991 with the song Mama. Other popular tracks from this period included Road Me Wan Come and Warder. In 1993, he teamed up with singer Leroy Smart to record Me Know Me Friend, produced by Winston Niney Holness, which became a top 10 hit in Jamaica. This success led to a deal with Heartbeat Records, resulting in his debut album, Ram DJ, released in 1994. The album featured guest appearances from renowned artists Sugar Minott and Dennis Brown. Despite his initial focus on positive messages, Baby Wayne later recorded some songs that aligned with the more explicit trends popular with audiences at the time. Tragically, Baby Wayne passed away on October 28, 2005, at the Kingston Public Hospital due to complications from pneumonia. In 2017, fellow dancehall artist Ninja Man mentioned that during their era, several artists, including Baby Wayne, struggled with addiction, saying, "It is something that is addictive, and it was made to destroy the black man." Ziggy Marley. Ziggy Marley is a Jamaican reggae musician and the son of reggae legend Bob Marley and Rita Marley. From a young age, music was a big part of his life. He led the family band Ziggy Marley and the Melody Makers, releasing 8 studio albums before the group disbanded in 2002. After that, he launched a successful solo career, staying true to his roots by releasing all his music through his own label, Tough Gong Worldwide, just like his father. Over the years, Ziggy has won 8 Grammy Awards and even a Daytime Emmy Award. But like his father, Ziggy also grew up in a culture where weed was a way of life. He first smoked when he was just 9 years old, with his father's blessing. Looking back, Ziggy admits he was too young. But at the time, it was completely normal in their community. As a devoted Rastafarian, Bob Marley saw weed as a spiritual tool, and Ziggy was raised with the same beliefs. Still, he now acknowledges that his father may have made a mistake by letting him smoke at such a young age. He said, "I wouldn't have let myself do it if I were in my father's place." Which of these reggae artists' careers was fully destroyed by substance? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss out on our latest content.